will not use a bad word. I promised my wife I would never use a bad word. So just a little bad. The case against me was bullshit. And she correctly dismissed it.
That was your president, President Trump, today at the Department of Justice. The case against him was, well, you just heard what he said. You just heard what he said. That was a highlight of an hour-long presentation at the Department of Justice with Attorney General Pam Bondi. Let's look at some other highlights of his visit there earlier today. It ended, let's just give you an idea of how well it went. It ended with the Trump dance at the Department of Justice, which is just some sweet irony, of course, and there's Pam Bondi over to the left, after everything that the Department of Justice put President Trump through, basically persecuting him during the Biden administration. So good for him, kind of taking a victory lap, but also some very important themes here. Let's get into it here with this quote, this clip here. Let's listen to the president.
Our predecessors turned this Department of Justice into the Department of Injustice, but I stand before you today to declare that those days are over, and they are never going to come back. They're never coming back.
Those days are over, never coming back. Never coming back. One of many notable sound bites today from the president. This one's a little bit longer. Let's take a look at what he's going to say here relative to MSNBC.
Let's be honest about the lies and abuses that have occurred within these walls. And unfortunately, in recent years, a corrupt group of hacks and radicals within the ranks of the American government obliterated the trust and goodwill built up over generations. They weaponized the vast powers of our intelligence and law enforcement agencies to try and thwart the will of the American people. You remember the 51 intelligence agents that said, as an example, that Hunter Biden's laptop from hell came from Russia.
Came from Russia. We'll listen to the MSNBC clip in just a second. But throughout the government, whether it was public health officials or the Department of Justice, basically they sacrificed their long-term credibility for their short-term political goals, which have obviously backfired because Trump is now our president.
When they knew it came right from his bedroom, they knew that. It was a big lie, and they knew it so well. They spied on my campaign, launched one hoax and disinformation operation after another.
Trump has taken this as he should.
Broke the law on a colossal scale, persecuted my family, staff, and supporters.
Persecute is the correct word. Prosecute is not correct. Persecute is the correct word.
Did my home, Mar-a-Lago, and did everything within their power to prevent me from becoming the president of the United States.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
With the help of radicals like Mark Elias, Mark Pomerantz. And these are people that nobody's ever seen anything like it. So many others, but these are people that are bad people, really bad people. They tried to turn America into a corrupt communist and third world country. But in the end, the thugs failed and the truth won.
Yes, the truth always won. As congressman in our district over here in Massachusetts, the arc of justice bends towards it, whatever they say. You know the thing. The truth always wins out. Depends upon how long it takes.
Freedom won, justice won, democracy won, and above all, the American people won. There could be no more heinous betrayal of American values than to use the law to terrorize the innocent and reward the wicked. And that's what they were doing at a level that's never been seen before.
And to prosecute or persecute your political opponents.
And it's exactly what you saw with Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, and their cronies to do the building of the last 4 years. What they've ripped down is incalculable. But what you're going to build up is likewise something that will be breaking all sorts of records.
all sorts of records. Yes, and the winning continued at the White House, at the Department of Justice, this is just really, I think, super emotional for Trump to be over at the Department of Justice, to kind of take this victory lap and really stick it to everyone at DOJ who try to take down the president. And this is kind of like a huge victory lap. Here he is here whacking.
It said as an
MSNBC
example that Hunter
CNN.
Biden's laptop from hell came from Russia when they knew it came right from.
Go back there. Here we go here. That's better. Let's play this one here. Here we go.
And I believe that CNN and MSDNC, who literally write 97.6% bad about me, are political arms of the Democrat Party. And in my opinion, they're really corrupt and they're illegal. What they do is illegal. It makes no difference how big a victory I had. I can have the biggest victory in history. It makes no difference what kind of a failure the other side has. And I believe that CNN.
So what he's saying effectively is that they're just branches of the DNC. What did he call? He called MSNBC the MSDNC. It's almost like a Rush Limbaugh type of lingo, isn't it? Right? His famous quote was "mess NBC," if you don't remember. And now Trump has renamed it MSDNC, which I think is maybe not his original nickname. I think I've heard that once before. But he is totally living rent-free in the heads of people over at MSNBC. As you heard a couple of days ago, Larry O'Donnell is going to need a moment.
Well, here's the thing. This is day 52. I thought it was day 92. It turns out it's day 52, Rachel, and I'm exhausted at day 52.
Oh,
and so I'm going to take next week off. And I'm telling you that now because I know you don't like it when I just drift away, and I don't, but just taking next week.
We just wish you would fade away, Larry. Can't you just fade away or drift away on a nice float or something? That would be fine. That would be fine if you had just drifted away or faded away. That would have also been fine. Trump had some very serious comments to talk about relative to fentanyl at the Department of Justice today. The United States Senate passed the Halt Fentanyl Act 84-16, with 16 Democrats, unbelievably, voting against the Halt Fentanyl Act, including our two U.S. senators here in beautiful Massachusetts, Warren and Markey. Of course, they voted against it. 16 U.S. senators voted against it. 84 voted in favor of it. It was a bipartisan piece of legislation, and Trump was talking about the Department of Justice war on fentanyl. Let's take a listen.
This department will not rest until we have ended the fentanyl epidemic in America once and for all. In less than 2 months since I took office, the DEA and FBI have seized nearly 1 million deadly doses of fentanyl, and that's just the beginning. At my direction and working with Pam and everybody else, we've launched an all-out war on fentanyl traffickers, and it's a war that we're going to win. We're going to win this war.
We're going to win it in part because we've closed the border, right? Because we've closed the border. When it comes to the border and what we've done with the border, what the president has done with the border, the most important part here is that we didn't need that Democrat amnesty bill. Remember that Democrat amnesty? If we just had the amnesty bill that Trump killed, it's Trump's fault that people are flooding over the border. That was such a lie. Our governor here in Massachusetts used it to defend herself. Trump killed the border bill. Remember that? And one of the most important and I think noteworthy comments that Trump made during his speech to Congress the other day was that we didn't need a border bill. We just needed a better president. And he's repeated that line. So it's such a great line. He's repeated
for years, Democrats and the media kept saying that we needed new legislation. We had to have new legislation. We needed it immediately. And I never had legislation. I had the best border in the history of our country for almost 4 years. And by the time I got out, we had the lowest numbers ever. My favorite chart of all time was brought down that day. And on that chart said we had the lowest numbers ever. But it turned out that we really didn't need new legislation. All you needed was a new president.
That's right. All you needed is a new president. And here in Massachusetts, now all we need is a new governor, but that's a different topic altogether. We did hear from one of the moms who lost a 20-year-old daughter to fentanyl poisoning. Her name was Kayla Hamilton, and we heard from her mom, Tammy Nobles.
Family's here today, and
on this
I'd
one.
love
Very,
you to
very
all.
important.
We're joined
Heartfelt.
today by Tammy Nobles, whose 20-year-old daughter, Kayla, was attacked in her home 3 years ago, horrifically assaulted and strangled to death by an illegal alien MS-13 monster set loose into our country under the open border Biden regime. Kayla was one of countless American victims ripped away from their families by the open border policies of that administration. And we're also joined by Kayla's stepfather, Jeremiah, and several other courageous angel families here today. And I'd love you to all just stand up and take a bow because you are incredible people. Please. Thank you.
That's correct. My mistake. She was a victim of a criminal alien, a gang killing. Not necessarily fentanyl, but they were probably dealing fentanyl. You know, they're wrapped up in the fentanyl trade. My error. I'm glad the president corrected me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. But I want you to know that we are working every day to expel these savages from our country and ensure that what happened to your loved ones will never happen again. So their legacy is going to be a great one. Thank you all very much.
Wow. Imagine sitting there and having the president literally point right at you and say, "Hey, we're going to bring justice to your daughter, a 20-year-old." Unspeakable, right? You know, my kid's almost 20, and yeah, you can't even get the words out of your mouth, right? Like that's just absolutely positively unspeakable. God bless them and her, Kayla. Tough thing to live with. Very horrific. Here is the Senate vote. Let's see who voted against it. Also, Brooks, Rochester, Blunt, Booker, Duckworth, Hirano, of course, Markey, Merkley, Murphy, Padilla, Sanders, Schiff, Van Hollen, Warnick, Warren, Welch, and Wyden. Okay, they all voted against it. 84-16. How can you vote against the halt fentanyl bill? How can you vote against that? By the way, Markey is up for re-election in 2026. Trump is just very busy today. Aside from being over at the Department of Justice, he is loving what's happened with Schumer. He's loving what's happened with Schumer. You see, Schumer got 9 Democrats to vote for the continuing resolution, so the government's not going to close down. And it was just delightful to see all sorts of House Democrats, especially like Pelosi and members of the squad over there, just absolutely have a nutty because Schumer basically betrayed them as far as they're concerned. And now there's a civil war in the Democrat Party. There's a lot of people out there that believe that the Democrats should have shut the government down, even though just a short time ago, they would have argued that would have been horrific. You can't shut the government down. And now there's a lot of House Democrats out there that believe that they should have shut the government down. Pelosi came up with some plan. We should have done like a 4-week delay. Why do that? Why kick the can 4 weeks? That was just ridiculous. And here is Trump kind of stoking the fires here by thanking Schumer as he gets on the plane.
I appreciate Senator Schumer, and I think he did the right thing. Really, I'm very impressed by that.
Very impressed by that. Oh, man. You can hear AOC screaming from here. She's just absolutely screaming from here because of that. Also, one other thing I just want to mention. I think this is not going to get a lot of press, but I think it deserves it. Breaking, President Trump has signed an executive order requiring an audit of every NGO which relies on federal funding. Thank you, Ivanka, for posting this. I do believe that that is going to be an eye-opener for federal funding. If you get federal funding as an NGO, you're going to have to suffer through an audit. And yeah, it's time. It's way over time. That did not get a lot of press today, but I thought it was an important story, so I'm reporting it to you. I'm John F. Gately, broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth, Massachusetts. We'll see you again. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.